EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. This episode is proudly sponsored by Libby Weissman and her team at Senior Transition Navigator and Luxury Homes of the Treasure Coast. And she helps seniors and their families navigate transition into senior life with many services like downsizing, decluttering, packing, moving, relocation, and more. For a free consultation, give Libby a call at 772-783-2800 or visit www.seniortransitionnavigator.com and www.luxuryhomesoftheTreasureCoast.com. Now, coming fresh off the launch of her first book, The Devil Wears Dior, Jennifer DeHaven is here to talk about not only this book, but we're going to get a teaser on the next book that she is currently writing. And Jennifer is a multipreneur. She is a published author, realtor, event planner, and owner of Mimosa Monday. She has a lot of great information to share with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been super excited about this. So Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a plethora of parties for you and fun events because you are in full-on promo mode.
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
I am.
You have been everywhere. And before we start talking about this is my copy and it's signed and you can't have it, it's mine. So anyway, I know.
You have to go on Amazon and get your own.
Yes, and we are going to talk all about that.
We will.
But before we start talking about the books, okay, this one and the other one that's in production right now, give us a little background about your life.
Well, a little bit of background on me. I moved here about 6 years ago from Pennsylvania. So I grew up in Pennsylvania. And I have experience as a teacher and I have experience in corporate life. And I'm kind of doing some different things right now. Right now in my 40s, I feel like the 40s are kind of magical. I say, there's a Kenny Chesney song called Wild Child, and he talks about, being a rebel soul with a whole lot of gypsy. And that's kind of like my theme song right now. And I'm partially stubborn right now and partially unapologetic. I've decided to cut myself out of the corporate world, and I've decided to work on passion projects and, things that I love and things that, make me feel good and, things that are affecting others, positively as well. I have two amazing kids and the sweetest dog in the world. So my kids are grown. And so I've just been kind of, rediscovering myself and reinventing myself over the past couple years, and especially in the past, year and a half when my youngest went to college. And but I've just been determined to live the best Florida life, enjoy the weather, enjoy the beach. I didn't want to wait till I was, super old and retired to move to Florida.
Yeah.
And but I'm doing what I want to do right now. And when I say that, it's, it's not about like, I don't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I never have, but I do, I spend my days as I please. I have slow mornings. I have, coffee out on my patio. I write. I'm planning my book promotions. I work on my real estate stuff during the day. But at night I do work at a local restaurant. It's consistent to, for income and everything like that. But I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to have an office. I don't want to have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And so, right now I'm just really enjoying this where I have my days to, work on my passion projects. And then I go in at night and I work. And that's my path right now. Ideally, I would love to just write and travel and do all the book signings and the readings. But, I wouldn't have published something and produce something unless I thought that it could be, New York Times bestseller or a Netflix series, and I'm very serious about that.
Yeah.
So those are my goals right now.
Oh, I love that so much. So now I got up, and because you were at Anna's lunch,
Yes.
and I stood up in front of, what were there, like 60 women in that room?
At least, yes.
And I didn't have the book in my hands. But what I did was I went to Amazon and I read the excerpt before you and I had our coffee meeting, right?
Right.
And because we had, we would touch base at different places. We kept saying, oh, we've got to get together.
Right,
and we
right.
finally did. I read the excerpt and I was hooked. But there was a problem. I had to stop myself from buying the book because you were having a launch party where if I waited, which I did, I could get my signed copy, right? So I did that. But I stood up in front of Anna's group and I said, I'm looking at the camera, I double dog, and I'm telling you this too now, everybody, I double dog dare you to go to Amazon, to Jennifer DeHaven, read the excerpt of A Devil Wears Dior. And if you can resist the urge to buy the book, there's something wrong with you. I'm allowed to say that. It's my show. And I love you in the 40s. Like, I'm in my 40s. I'm going to do what I want. Oh, my gosh. I'm pushing 60 and I'm unapologetic. I'm obnoxious about saying what I want.
Absolutely.
And so I'm rambling at this point. So now what inspired you to write this book? Because, people know that I'm really excited about it.
Well, I appreciate it, first of all. I appreciate, all the shout outs and everything like that. I really do. And I appreciate your support at the event and everything last week. So I feel like I've always had big dreams. And I, in my 20s, I was a huge Sex and the City fan. And, I wanted Carrie Bradshaw's life. Her life, right? It was amazing. The fashion, the shoes, the clothes, right?
But she could have had a better boyfriend. But that's a whole other...
Yes. That's a whole other episode. A whole other book.
Yeah.
Back then, 20 years ago, doing something like what she was doing, you'd have to be in New York and you'd have to be discovered and, all the things. And I was raising kids and, that wasn't in the cards for me. And, even though, I thought that lifestyle would be amazing, that just wasn't something I could do at the time. So fast forward, 20 some years, our world is different now. And these self-publishing options that we have right now,
fantastic.
I don't have to try to go out there and get discovered. And I can use the power of social media to promote and, all the entrepreneurs, locally that we have in the networking and everything like that. So there's so many other options. And, really what's crazy is that I could just wake up and, take a year, write a book, and then be like, hey, I'm an author.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, you most definitely are.
Yeah. So when I started real estate a couple years ago, I wanted to go straight to the top. I wanted to be a luxury listing agent, and some wild things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so after some of these wild things occurred, I started, I'd be like driving. I do a lot of thinking and writing when I'm driving, which, it's just my mind going. And I'd be writing this book in my head. And so fast forward a few more months, my daughter graduated from high school. She was turning 18. I took her to Key West. And we decided to get books for fun, which I hadn't read a book for fun since I was a kid. I was always reading professional development books, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of that too.
So I'm reading this book for fun, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, there were so many parallels in that book to first what had happened in some of these wild situations, but then also to like what I had been writing in my head. And I'm sitting there reading this, and I'm like, I could do this, why not? Why not? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so so I started writing, and like I said, part of it is inspired by actual events, but it's very fictionalized, exaggerated, dramatized, the whole 9 yards. And so that's pretty much, how The Devil Wears Dior came to be.
Yeah, because some of the things that Chloe went through, I'm also in the age of hot flashes. And I was like, oh my God, this poor girl, you know, like all the things. And then I know you said that some of it was like pulled from real life, whether it was you or other realtors or whatever. But I'm like, I hope all this stuff didn't happen to Jennifer.
We could probably do a whole other podcast on what was real, what wasn't.
Okay, so without giving too much away, well, first, people can go to Amazon and look up Jennifer DeHaven, DeHaven, and then The Devil Wears Dior. I mean, Google it.
Yeah, they can just look up The Devil Wears Dior, and it's the first thing that pops up, and that's me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's where they can go. But what would you like to share about the book itself without giving too much away?
So what I really love about The Devil Wears Dior is the messages and the meanings in this story. And I was very intent on sharing these messages and inspiring people while also telling a really good story. And I wanted to keep people intrigued. We talked a little bit before the show about, you said you were hooked right away.
Right away.
But I was very purposeful in that. And so, when we start, the character, Chloe goes into, this house in the beginning, and then she starts having these like flashbacks. And, I wanted people to wonder like, oh my gosh, like what happened? You know what I mean? And so, fast forward, as people give me feedback, whether it's a review or somebody just reads me, sends me a message or something, the common theme has been like, it's a page turner. And I wanted to know more. And I hear that over and over again. And it makes me so happy because I was very, strategic about it. And I mean, it was super, like somewhat like poetic for me and healing. And, like I put my heart into like this, this whole masterpiece. Like I kind of picture like, like a pianist, just like, like at the end, like the da, 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 and like, at the end of it. Right. And so, to me, that's just, that's what I feel about it. Like I feel about like it's my masterpiece. And sometimes it's really hard for me to narrow down, because there are so many aspects of this book. I mean, it's alluring. It talks about real estate. And listen, like I know I take some jabs at like the industry and stuff like that, but
it's okay.
Like don't take it too seriously. Like some of it's like in jest, you know. I talk about relationships. I talk about leaving abusive relationships. I talk about narcissism. I talked about, what God can do in your life. I talk about, the differences in social classes. But I feel like the ultimate message is like a message about like redemption. You can always restart, redo, refocus. You can always redeem yourself. Like it's never over. And I feel like Chloe was the main character, one of the main characters. She's such a perfect representation of this because she's starting her life over and then she meets Hannah and she wants to believe the good in Hannah. And then she starts kind of falling into some similar things from her past in like this situation professionally. And so, she has to, redirect the trajectory of her life for her family. So for her and her family. So it's an interesting tale between the two.
Absolutely. And I love the ending and I didn't see it coming. Sometimes I was thinking, oh, maybe this is going to happen or that's going to happen. And then when it ended, I was like, oh my goodness, I loved it so much. But you know what Cindy is making us do?
Take a break.
Yeah, she's making us take a break. And we're going to have to. But you know what? We have so much more to talk about. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't pay to file your taxes. Really, it's free and local. There are 5 convenient locations throughout Indian River County. Visit UnitedWayIRC.org to see if you qualify for free tax prep and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Appointments are filling fast.
Hey, you! Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
Sturgis Lumber is the county's most trusted hardware store. Sturgis stocks stainless steel products, power tools, construction and painting supplies, propane, plumbing, and electrical parts. 4645 US 1 Vero Beach, Sturgis Lumber and Hardware.
Create your island paradise at Sunshine Furniture during our winter sale event. Save 50% on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington, including the newest collection, Key Biscayne. Living room, dining room, occasional chairs, office, and media furniture with sophisticated design and a mix of coastal and Caribbean style. All Tommy Bahama and Lexington offer everything you need for your Florida living. We have the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture from Four Seasons, Capri, Universal, Riverside, Hooker, Sea Winds, Barca Lounger, Best, and lots more. At Sunshine Furniture, we're the outdoor furniture experts specializing in patio sets that withstand the Florida elements, and we have a gallery of Berlin Garden and Bollywood. Come in now for the best prices of the year. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach. Don't miss the 50% off winter sale on Tommy Bahama and Lexington going on now. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and visit our outlet store directly across the street.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I'm with Jennifer DeHaven, the author of The Devil Wears Dior. And we really talked a lot about it until Cindy said, if I don't take a break, I'm in big trouble, right?
Yeah.
And so, but now you have another book that you have in the works. So I'm just going to let you decide, what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because after I published The Devil Wears Dior, and I have a lot of work to still do on that, promotion-wise and everything like that. But I thought to myself, like, I can't do this again. Like, what am I going to write about, But that's kind of what we, I say we as writers, we get inspired at different times. And, I think any artist, can have inspiration at different times, right? And so, it took a while to kind of, to get that inspiration again. And even when I was writing The Devil Wears Dior, there would be weeks that went by that I wouldn't write. And I actually went on a little retreat to North Carolina, and I'm like, I'm going to write. And I never wrote. And so there were all these times where I wasn't writing. But I would say, like, in the spring of 2024, I really kicked it into high gear. I was super inspired. And that's when I finished it and then went through the whole editing and revision process. But I am actually really excited about this book. Because I'm going to be doing what I love, which is the actual writing. And, it's really, it's putting together a work of art. It's being strategic and, how you connect the first book to this book and, how you put everything all together. And, I get inspiration daily. There's things that just overhearing people's conversations and seeing things, right? I get inspiration from it, and I take those things and I put notes in my phone or whatever. And, I can take that and dramatize that and add that in. So last week at the event, when I read an excerpt from the chapter, I wrote about this woman who was getting her hair done in this high-end salon, and she walked out with a garbage bag over her head because it was pouring down rain into her Mercedes. Yeah. That is something that I've witnessed. And so just taking, I'm just driving along, and that's just something silly that I witnessed that I took and, whatever. So for this next book, my best friend gave me this idea to do a precursor to The Devil Wears Dior. And I thought it was a really cool concept. So I've been, developing this whole new idea. And funny enough, the first thing that I wrote was the last page.
Okay.
And so I am going to tell you, because I said it at the book launch. So this one's going to be called The Devil Drinks Clicquot, as in Bouvet Clicquot,
yes.
the expensive bubbly that is mentioned in The Devil Wears Dior. And it's going to parallel the lives of the two main characters, Hannah and Chloe. You're going to get their backstories leading up to The Devil Wears Dior.
Good.
Yes.
Good, especially
yes, so
this Hannah chick.
Yes, very mysterious, lots of questions.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be, a lot more fiction. Like I said, originally The Devil Wears Dior had some inspiration from some wild situations, but this one's going to be, pretty much strictly fiction, even though, like I said, I do get inspiration, from life. And, just for instance, the couple weeks leading up to the event when I was shopping for my dress, at different shops around town, beachside and not beachside, consignment and not consignment, I had some really interesting situations, and I'll just, kind of parallel it to Pretty Woman, how she was treated on Rodeo Drive. And, not that I had on that sort of outfit or anything like that,
Right.
but
Yeah, you're a
it's
lady. Yes.
It was just interesting how people act in different shops and, so that's the kind of stuff that will go into my book.
Good.
But let's hope that I'll be publishing again at the end of 2025. That would be goals for me to work on that over the next year.
Yeah,
and,
thank you. I appreciate that for myself. I'm just saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
absolutely.
this one was such a fun read, so I'm looking forward to that. And then how about other books? You are going to be a prolific author, yes?
Yeah, I would. I would like to.
Because this is being taped and there's 4,800.
So I really have to stick to my word. The pressure is on. So, I would like to create a series, out of The Devil Wears Dior and The Devil Drinks Clicquot, and, who knows what's going to happen next. I always have ideas. I started to write a book a couple years ago, about failures and, how they lead to, greatness. And, a lot of times, like, let's just take social media, for instance, people are like, oh, I did this, success, success, success. A lot of times people don't put out their failures, and so I actually really want to talk about failures. And so that's something that I'm interested in. But yeah, I mean, I have, personal life and, things that happen around me. There's all kinds of stuff that I could write about.
Yeah, and we all have, things where we did something, we made a mistake, but then when you learn from it.
Right.
So those are wonderful stories that I think for you, because you are an entrepreneur and you love working with other small entrepreneurs and helping them raise them up.
I do.
So I think that's fantastic. So that type of book, whether it's lessons about business or life lessons in general, mom lessons, whatever it is, I think your type of writing based on that little section, that introspective section towards the end, I'm not going to give anything away. I don't even know which camera to look at.
Buy the book.
But I also really liked that part because it was making me think about myself. So I thought that was really cool. Now, Mimosa Monday, I want you to first, cute name.
Thank you.
How'd you come up with it? And whatever you want to share about Mimosa Monday.
Yeah. So Mimosa Monday, in my mind, I thought would be a few years back now. I thought it would be a cool name to have like a really amazing boutique and serve mimosas and, whatever, be super girly and whatever. At the time, I was, an operating partner, opening franchises. So I didn't have any time to follow any of my own dreams. Fast forward to the pandemic, whenever we're in shutdown, I had never in my adult life had so much time on my hands to do stuff. Everybody's watching Tiger King, and I'm like coming up with all these entrepreneurial ideas of things I can do.
That's great.
So, so Mimosa Monday, it's really all about the entrepreneurial brand. If I want to go and have mimosas on a Monday, I can do that. I'm all about doing whatever I want to do, which I kind of, said before.
Yeah.
So it really started as an entrepreneurial brand. And it's evolved over the past couple years, and it's really just turned into my umbrella of everything that
all of your passion projects and the event planning and things like that, which your launch party was awesome.
Thank you.
Heritage Center, beautiful food. I forgot who the caterer was. I cater.
Yes.
Okay. And
amazing.
then Lisa of Tipsy Gypsy.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I remembered who the drink person was, because people know I like to have a little cocktail on occasion. And she's really great.
She's fantastic. Yes. Yes. And that's how we reconnected, because I was bartending for her the one night.
I know, for the Evergreen Media.
Yeah,
and I'm so glad that we got together, because now you're here, and I want everybody to go to Amazon and visit Jennifer DeHaven, Devil Wears Dior on Amazon, read the excerpt, buy the book, okay, and then go to Devil Wears Dior on Instagram and Ms. Mimosa Monday on Instagram, okay? That's the two. And then do you have any other place that you want to send them?
No, not right now. That's
all the great ways to get to you.
Absolutely.
And learn about you. Okay.
Yes, and also to the VBN shop. I'll be be there March 15th to do a book signing. That's my next book signing.
Very good. Yeah.
Yes,
And we only have a few more seconds. So what I
Okay.
want to say to everyone is thank you for watching. And Libby Weissman, it's the luxury homes of the treasurecoast.com, seniortransitionnavigator.com. She's amazing. Go check her out. And until next week, I miss you already. Ellen Contreras, Treasure Coast Connector.